Hello and good evening. To start with the interviews, in defining restorative justice, both Fidel and Luis Rodriguez touched upon a similar theme, which is being able to see the interconnectivity between all things as well as our relationship with them, and building a program to restore harm by returning to this fundamental truth of a collective conscience, cosmology to borrow from you, Professor. Although it's interesting to see that due to their different backgrounds, they stress different things. Lewis, a poet and unsurprisingly philosophical in his thought process, would speak on the sacredness of relationships as being the focal point, and restorative justice being a realignment or rebuilding of those relationships from nature to community. He also goes on to emphatically support a no punishment policy. Fidel, on the other hand, will center it on getting to the root, analyzing the cultural history, in a process he refers to as an acknowledgement at all levels. He also relates this concept to his process of emphatic listening, which he believes is the crux of a restorative justice process. While a juxtaposition of the texts do not stray too far away from the ideas already mentioned, each stresses a different aspect. For example, in South Africa, Ubuntu would be the heart and soul, focusing on correcting imbalances and stressing a completely honest disclosure of harm with the intent of communal healing. In Aboriginal forms of restorative justice, through methods such as sentencing circles, a focus is heavily placed on community involvement, and in the article by Iran is defined, interestingly, as creating an atmosphere of compromise between victim and offender and their families. The text gives a standard definition, leaning on Zaire, of addressing harms and needs, accountability to make it right, and involving communities in the process, but it also provides a skeleton of 6 ingredients, which we found very helpful in forming our definition. Our definition of restorative justice would be to echo a lot of what was mentioned in text and interviews, being very helpful, with 3 core ideas: assessing history or cause, collectively understanding harms and needs based on those causes, and involving the community to which victim and offender lives and generating a plan to address them, with the goal of avoiding retributive punishment as much as one can. One of the members in our group added embracing the tension of crisis and listening deeply with an opportunity to reconnect with one another in creation. In addition, I'd like to mention a powerful quote given by you, Professor, which I found pretty profound, and that is to strive towards not only to recolonizing, but to re-sanctify, which adds the component of the sacred, which we, and I emphatically do not believe restorative justice can be divorced from if it is to be an effective alternative to the criminal justice system. In comparing the different definitions of restorative justice, it's clear to see that the principles and themes are consistent, although the methods employed can be different based on the concept and what is stressed within that context. This flexibility makes restorative justice powerful, but also leaves room for gaps manifested in potentially cookie-cutter approaches, as you mentioned, Professor, in your interview. This would also be our main criticism and a subject of further research for us in applying restorative justice in our respective context. Thank you.